what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast where we're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
I'm Zach Wright.
Oh, hello. I'm Jordan.
Hey.
Guys, I need to call attention to the fact that I think our all was the most in sync it's ever been.
Was
Probably.
It was very in sync.
Well, and then you're going to go in the edit, and then you're going to look at the waveforms, and you're going to be like, it was off. It was off.
I'm going to be like, God damn it, Kevin. I'm going to cut your audio, pull it up a little bit, make it very in sync.
Yeah, very change the speed and duration on that.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Jordan saying, "Oh, hello," today we are talking about something that Jordan challenged us to watch.
Which was, if you couldn't have guessed it, Oh, Hello.
Hmm.
Which is
yeah. What's up with the
okay.
Oh, hello?
What is Oh, Hello?
Oh, Hello was a Broadway play created by John Mulaney and Nick Kroll. And what I challenged you guys to watch was the recording that Netflix did, and what published is published the right word? Released in 2017. So that's when I first watched it. And, I was just thinking about it a little bit ago, and I was like, I'm going to challenge the guys to watch this because I think they'll like it. And what I've seen from the comments, it seems to be pretty positive. So here we are. And I said we're going to be critiquing the play itself, not the way that Netflix shot it.
Because
was there
just
something
to
wrong with
weigh in on the way
shot
Netflix
it?
shot it. I didn't care for the way Netflix shot it.
Really?
I mean,
I enjoyed it.
It was fine. It could have been better.
I'll be honest. Based off what I remember from when Hamilton was filmed, I think this did a better job with camera movement than Hamilton did.
Oh, okay. I can agree with that.
I don't know. I maybe camera movement, yes. But Hamilton had better editing for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. There were just a lot more cameras, period, for this for some reason.
Yeah, it was very wild.
Mm.
But yeah, so we can move on to our overall thoughts of Oh Hello on Broadway, which is streaming on Netflix. So quick spoiler-free thoughts. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
I found this really funny. Writing was super creative and meta, to say the least. There are certain jokes that are a little spicy, a little raunchy, that might be a little cutting the toe in the line,
racy.
A little racy. I enjoyed the delivery and the comedic chops, which really from Kroll and Mulaney, which they bring to the special. I think the way they deliver some of the lines makes the jokes land a little bit better than if they were just kind of like deadpan or like said without any care to the joke, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They were crafted in a way that didn't seem, if it was crafted in a worse way, it'd seem way worse than the joke actually was,
Mm-hmm.
As a theater show, it's done super well. I like the set design. Having all the old sets, which I assume are part of old shows, is actually kind of funny, and I think they looked really well done.
That's how they were able to afford everything else.
Yeah.
This looks expensive.
The prosthetics on Mulaney and Kroll are actually really well done, and it's like, man, I kind of forgot that it's John Mulaney and Nick Kroll up there. But yeah, really, really well done play. Very funny. Very, very different, to say the least.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
Okay, so I say this was, I thought of this almost like, it felt like a really long SNL skit to me.
Fair enough.
So
I mean, yeah.
I did go between chuckling and cringing because I love the stage and drama humor and the way he makes fun of it. Like, I'm a theater kid and I'll get more into that later. And some of the meta humor was also funny. But then there were also moments that I was just like, really? This is the joke we're making? We're hanging on this joke for about 10 minutes? All right. Also, I'm sorry. I swear that was Pete Davidson and not Nick Kroll.
No.
The entire
Jesus
time
Christ.
I was looking, I was like, this is Pete Davidson doing an impression of the bird from Cyber Chase, because that is exactly the voice it sounded like. I could tell it was John Mulaney, but other guy, I was like, this is Pete Davidson. I swear to God. But no, I did enjoy it for the most part. Yeah, I'll get into some of the other stuff later, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
I like how you referenced the bird from Cyber Chase and not the parrot from Aladdin.
Iago,
The bird from-
you better put some goddamn respect on Gilbert Godfrey, okay?
No,
He
the bird
died
from Cyber
this
Chase. He's
year.
the bird from Cyber Chase. Iago is a small little thing. He was better. It was Kingdom Hearts, okay? But the bird from Cyber Chase.
How dare you say from Kingdom
Gilbert
Hearts? That is
Godfrey
fucking
died
Gilbert
3 days before I could
Godfrey.
meet him.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's a story for another time, I think.
It really is.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, my general thoughts are that I think the play was really funny, and I really like how it fully embraces the meta Brechtian take, its own take on theater to tell its
The what
story.
take?
Brechtian, which means that it's when like a piece of art kind of makes you tells you that you're experiencing that piece of art, like say a book about letters. It constantly reminds you that people, like characters in the story, are reading letters, therefore you are reading a book.
I
Whereas
knew
in
that. I
this,
just wanted our viewers to know that.
okay, gotcha. But yeah, so in this case here, it's like they constantly remind you that you're watching a play, and especially that there's a play within the play that's going on. But yeah, it kind of feels like that, almost like Borat comedic style for a different medium, like where like they just embody this character and have this commentary, and there's a story happening outside of the story that they think they're presenting you. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. How about you, Jordan?
Well, I chose it, so there's a reason why I love this play. Which is kind of funny to think with some of the jokes and stuff how much I actually do enjoy this play. But like I still laugh at parts that I can quote. And I have fun every time I watch it. Like especially after the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again. I kind of went into it with the mindset thinking like actually thinking that these characters that they created are real, and just thinking it from like an old person's mindset.
Yeah,
Which is kind of like how I embrace the jokes, because it's like, yeah, they're a bit racy and everything, but like we kind of talking about before the show, some of the jokes like I could hear my late grandma say, because that's the time that she grew up in, and back then it was okay. Obviously, it's not okay, and they kind of play on that, but it's just like if you go on it, like it's these two old fucks just dicking around on stage.
Basically, you put yourself in the shoes of a white old racist boomer, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I feel like the fact that it's John Mulaney and Nick Kroll kind of ruins the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how it was advertised on Broadway, but within the context of the special itself on Netflix, even though they're credited on the Netflix page, they are not credited until the end of the show.
Yeah. So like the whole like advertising and everything, it was their characters. So like the entire time, like if you kind of heard at the beginning where it was like, unfortunately, the people playing George St. Geegland and Gil Faizon are like, will unfortunately be played by George St. Geegland and Gil Faizon. Like they did not advertise it with their actual names. They were like, this is starring George St. Geegland and Gil Faizon.
Right.
Eat
Which I
your
wonder-
heart out, Jared Leto.
That's real method
Wait, what?
acting.
Oh.
I mean, so diving into spoilers a little bit, what's one thing you liked about Oh Hello?
I liked how Jordan just completely bashed her leg on the desk
I'm
and
sorry, I'm trying to
rattled the
readjust.
microphone.
Oh,
Jesus.
no.
I'm sorry.
One thing I liked was the humor and the jokes and the concept of the entire show. I liked how meta it was, and how like it really like built upon itself, and like all the bits they do are just kind of so random. It might sound kind of weird, but it's kind of like the random parts of like also Dan Schneider from like fucking Nickelodeon. Terrible human being. When you get that, get that
very
across.
terrible.
Very
Oh, boy.
terrible human being. But like some of the random shit he would throw, like random dancing from iCarly, that randomness factor is kind of in this play a little bit, but like done well, in a very like creative way, narrative way.
Yeah, it's like into that anything goes concept, which Jordan, I think you've noted, like it is like a lot of it's also improv.
Yeah.
And John Mulaney, I know for sure, is really good at improv. Nick Kroll, I'm not too familiar with his work, but he seems to be really good at improv as
There
well.
are some parts where if you watch them like tell the joke, you can tell they just thought of it.
Yeah.
And like they're
Yeah.
trying not to break with how well it worked with the bit they're doing.
Oh yeah.
I need an example because that.
Like when Steve Martin comes on stage, like most of when Steve Martin is on in the like Too Much Tuna bit, like you can tell some of their back and forth isn't scripted at all. It's kind of just like
all
a conversation.
Of those interviews are not scripted. Like they had different celebrities come up throughout their performances, and none of it was scripted.
I feel like that part.
I assumed all of it was scripted.
No,
I think the part when they're lying on the ground talking to Ravi, I think that's also improvised because you can tell John Mulaney is holding himself back with the Sex and the City joke.
Oh,
no,
then
that was Nick Kroll because Nick Kroll was just like,
oh,
can you? I was seen on the Sex and the City walking tour, just open fire.
John Mulaney definitely said a joke that I can't remember which one it was, but like you could tell that he's trying to hold back from laughing.
It might have. I think it was the Ferrero Rocher one.
Yeah,
that one's my favorite. He's like, my blood sugar's dropping. Can you go get me a Ferrero Rocher chocolate or a Lindt Lindor truffle? My favorite flavor is blue.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I love that.
It's just random. Like, how do you come up with that? Like, where do you pull that from?
Lots of practice.
Yeah, I guess. But like, it's stuff like that. That is what makes me like that's really where the show shines, in my opinion. It's nothing like I've seen before.
Oh, I have another example.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So it was kind of closer to the beginning of the play before they like really get into it. So there's like the one where John Mulaney asks Nick Kroll's character, he is like, you know what we always say before the show? And then Nick Kroll says, treat a 4 like a 6 and she'll be grateful. And then can see John Mulaney is just like no,
reacting
Jesus
to that.
Christ. Like that's a genuine reaction.
Please. It's a bit spicy.
It was spicy, but it was just like, oh. Or then like when they're like touching pinkies and Nick Kroll puts his fingernail under John Mulaney's pinky fingernail and John Mulaney just loses it. It's so funny.
Oh my God.
It's sacred ground.
Kevin, what did you like?
I like the complete lack of fourth wall in this because it's a play, but also like it kind of like performs like a comedy special, how it engages the audience.
Yeah.
Even to the point where it's just like when they did like a reveal, like showing what's under the hidden door for the staircase, just like, hey, for those sitting over there, you can't see
That's
it.
what you're missing.
Next time, get some more money or buy tickets sooner. But yeah, no, just the complete lack of fourth wall, I think, really sells the show. Instead of like, it keeps it from being too much like a play. Because I feel like if you turn it too much like a play, it wouldn't quite work.
Yeah, there are definitely parts of it where it's like that like lack of fourth wall. When they tell like their very first like racy like old person joke where it's definitely like involving a minority group, and like the audience just kind of goes, oh, like they're very taken aback and they're like buckle in, and John Mulaney's like, quick, lock the doors.
Yeah, it's like that lack of fourth wall kind of gives them some breathing room to kind of wink at the audience. So that way they kind of, they don't get in too much trouble.
I thought of another one. It wasn't improv, but just like when they start the play, he's like, what are we? 2 characters with different opinions, and then just like points at the audience. I love that part.
That's every play.
Again, with our character differences. Wink.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, what'd you like?
So I did enjoy the stage humor. I'm a theater kid, like I said. So like that opening stuff where they basically went from, here's all the stuff that you're gonna see in the play. Lights dim after you say some random like miscellaneous thing. I was like, yeah, I've done that. That's basically our town. And how they incorporate that throughout the show. So like you see it from beginning to end, all the stuff that they point out goes throughout the entire show all the way till the end. So I'm like, all right, I did like that. And then Steve Martin did low-key save me. I'm glad that was mostly improv. I'll be honest, Jordan, at that point I was a little bit like, okay, I don't know where this is going. And then Steve Martin came. I was like, okay. And I was like, that was the most hilarious part where I was like losing my mind after with everything they did. And also everything with Ravi, because Ravi was my favorite. Ravi not being on stage was probably the best part of that entire show. Especially when he was like, I will come up there and kill you right now. Everything with Ravi was had me laughing. Like
I did love
laughing out
them.
loud.
I love the Matthew Broderick bit because I was like, is he actually back there? And the door opens and he's just there. I'm like, what the fuck?
That was good.
No,
Yeah, I wish we'd had more of this, like the theater stuff, like or the Steve Martin stuff. Like I wish there had been more celebrity. Like if the whole show had just been, we're gonna act as these two characters and do random stuff with celebrities or random stuff with the audience, I would have been like, yeah, this is perfect. This is
Ryan,
the best damn
that's
thing
just
ever.
SNL.
Yes and no.
I
Kevin,
mean,
take us to break, please.
well, hold on. Jordan, you didn't say the one thing you liked.
Oh, well, you know how,
kinda talked
like
about
I
it,
said,
but yeah.
not how all of it is scripted. Like when the show was like I already said, they had different celebrities. I actually like Googled it one time. There's a bunch of different interviews on YouTube that you can watch, for Too Much Tuna. But I just think though that like because of that, each show is unique in its own way, and to just kind of like be I would have loved to be like a fly on the wall or just like an audience, like just an audience member at one of those times, just to see a different celebrity up on there. But I don't know. I just think it'd be so cool. But I love that part, and I just like how it's kind of improv, and you can see that they really like enjoyed being these characters and performing it on stage and everything. Like it was just, it's just I don't know. It's a good one.
I'm glad for this recording they had Steve Martin because Steve Martin's really good.
Yeah.
But I was also not expecting a Three Amigos reference in the modern times. It's like I was like, other people seen that movie? But yeah, on that note, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk more about Oh Hello. See you in a bit.
Hey everybody, my name is Jordan, and you've probably heard me on an episode or two, but did you know I also have a baking channel? Bluebell Bake is by the amateur baker for the amateur baker. On the channel, I'll be posting recipes, tips and tricks, and more so we can all learn to better our baking skills. You can find my channel on YouTube at Bluebell Bake, we're currently posting monthly, or on Instagram and TikTok, both at bluebell.bake. Come join our little community where no matter what happens, we keep on baking.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
Oh, hello.
That was
We were off on that one. Our alls were in sync, but not our oh hellos. But oh hello, welcome back to Committed Critics. As we
Thanks for
continue
the
talking
clean.
about-
Thanks for the clean take, Kevin. Just in case I need it.
Welcome back to Committed Critics as we continue to talk about Oh Hello on Broadway, and specifically one thing that we don't like or doesn't quite hold up about the show, because nothing is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. We always have to nitpick. What about you, Zach?
The overall narrative, like, so like the story that's in there, right? Of like the the washed up playwright, like
Yeah.
being mean to his best friend. Like, I'm like, all right, this is kind of where it loses me a little bit, you know?
Hmm.
I didn't really care for like each character's like goals, how like the CBS announcer thing for
Interesting.
Gil. Like, I didn't really care for those moments where they kind of clashed against each other. I'm kind of more with Ryan, where I wish there was more of just kind of like random, like they're kind of just two geriatric old men who kind of forget the point of the play they're putting on, and they kind of move on, right? And like they're just kind of like messing with the audience, doing different bits back and forth. Like I enjoyed the setup. I enjoyed like the Too Much Tuna bit. I enjoyed when they're laying on the floor after the weird dance number. But like when they're in the actual narrative of the story, I just feel like I could have used another pass trying to iron out some of the kinks. And it's a slight miss in my opinion. I just
I feel like I'm trying to remember the 40 years of abuse. That's not the play within the play, right? Or is
No,
it?
that's
their
lives.
actual life.
No.
Yeah, no, that because I really like that part, and like because they did forget about the play within the play. That's why Matthew Broderick was standing behind that door for so long.
Yeah.
Right. No. I get that part. I meant more of like they forget, like, I guess, yeah, you're right. They do forget about the play. But I mean, I don't know, the
I
way
get
they
what
have
you
that
mean, Zach, like,
conflict. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I get what you mean. Like the whole like underlying conflict between the two of them is like, oh yeah, I was like, you don't respect me or you don't respect me, and you don't really pay attention to it because of all the other stuff going on.
Yeah, I feel like it just could have been. It could have been a little more stronger for me. That's it. Yeah.
I definitely think it could have ended stronger, but also I think it kind of made its own point with like talking about like how sometimes theater just ends abruptly. They just say something subtle,
It just
and
felt
then
like
but no, I get
it
what you're
just felt
saying.
like a very big tonal shift because all of a sudden you go from this huge comedy to like, wait a minute, there's a plot to this.
I pooped my pants.
Like yeah, it goes from that. It goes from like this like comedic bit, like which has been the entire play, to like all of a sudden we're yelling at each other for no, which they did make fun of that earlier in the show. So like I got that part, but at the same time I was like, wait, is this like, what is this part of the story? Or
Right,
like,
I was kind of expected to be like,
from?
right, I agree. I was expecting it to kind of be like a setup for like another joke where it's like, and this is the point of the play where we hit our conflict, and like it kind of like is there, but it's an actual conflict, you know?
Oh, I see. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, a
Where
little
it
more
kinda
meta
like-
with
Like the problems of the character bleed into the play within the play.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to each their own. Well, Jordan, how about you?
For me, like every time I watch this, I think the dance sequence is a little too long or a little much. And I kind of start to get bored with it. But then I feel like with the issues with the show, I feel like they're able to kind of bring it right back, or like take you right back into it. So like, yes, the dance sequence is a little long, but then they have that lying on the floor bit that just gets me every time. So it's kind of like I get a little bored, but then they have these jokes to kind of soften the, I guess, not as strong parts of it. But
Right.
And I can agree with the narrative part of it. I just think maybe it's because I've watched this a few more times than you guys have or something else. But like you see the abuse kind of trickle through, like when John Mulaney tells Nick Kroll that he needs to lose like 7 pounds when they're just standing there, or or just always ignoring that Nick Kroll has to go to the bathroom, or like he has a wedgie or something. Like you see them, but I can understand like it could be stronger, or it just kind of seems like it comes out of nowhere a little bit closer to the end.
I don't know, I like that I like the fact that it comes out of nowhere.
I do too.
Like, because at Steve Martin part, it's like, can I use the bathroom? And then at the beginning of the show, it's like there's no intermissions.
Yeah.
So it's like, so then like suddenly it just interrupts the show. I'm like, yeah, I mean, makes sense. But like I said, to each their own. So Ryan, I'll go first since yours kind of builds off of mine. Like we kind of talked about it already, but there were some jokes about in this that I felt like was like almost too racist, given that it's given the cast that we have. I believe Nick Kroll is Jewish, so the anti-Semitism of the show is fine.
Green check mark. That was fine. Roll it. I'll check. Hang on.
Let's check to be sure. I'm pretty sure Nick Kroll is Jewish.
Keep talking.
John Mulaney definitely isn't. If neither of them are Jewish, ooh.
Why don't you just Google, is Nick Kroll Jewish? Why do you have to look at his Wikipedia?
Because usually it tells you if he was a...
He dated Amy Poehler?
Oh, man, we got to cancel him for that one right there. He grew up in a conservative Jewish family. He's fine.
That explains Big Mouth a lot. But yeah, and it was like, it wasn't the racism of the jokes weren't to a point where I felt like excluded or like attacked or anything. I was kind of like, we're getting really close. John
Mulaney grew up Catholic. That much I know.
Yes.
He says it in his stand-ups.
Yeah.
Ooh, Irish Catholic. That poor bastard.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, John Mulaney, man. It's a mess.
For context, I'm Catholic, or I was raised Catholic, so I get to make those jokes.
Mhm.
What?
What's up?
If we're giving Nick Kroll the Jewish pass, I get the Catholic pass.
All
I
you
think
said was
everyone
that
makes fun
makes
of
sense.
Catholics
I was
regardless.
gonna say this
I was
isn't
like,
like a
Catholics-
racing; it's a religion thing. Like it's
Religion is a choice.
Well, Jewish people, I believe, is at least what I was taught in school is that it's kind of a race thing more than it is a religion thing with Jewish people.
It is
Right. It's a definitely a cultural aspect of their race.
Yeah.
versus Catholicism.
Oh shit! I
Or
thought it was
Christianity.
religion. I thought it was
Or
more of a
Christianity.
religion. Whoops, my bad.
What's up?
I thought it was more of a religion. Whoops, my bad.
Zach's
I
been
mean-
over here.
It's kind of it's both. So-
I'm getting woke today, my friends.
Let's celebrate
Zach, I hope you
Hanukkah.
didn't say anything.
Spin that
bad.
dreidel. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like I said, like, you know, given those like even the cast, the jokes kind of toe the line of being almost too racist. They better not say those on the street, but like they understand, they know it's wrong. Like, you know, it's a whole winking at the audience and like being old characters. You know, they know it's not right, and that's part of the joke. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, sorry, I like the racist jokes. Those were the only ones.
Jesus.
Canceled.
That's some of the humor I do. So I was like, oh yeah, these are making me laugh. Now the dick and the sex jokes, yeah, I was about to shoot myself in the face from over those. I was like,
Two sides of the
please-
same coin.
I was like, can we please stop with these? I'm like, I'm getting tired of that. That like the thing, like I know you guys mentioned the little finger holding thing. I was very much like, why are we doing this? Why is this a bit?
Ryan's
Oh.
that finger thing where like I would if we were sitting at a dinner table, I would totally just like touch your finger just to fuck with you, and that'd be hilarious.
It was that and the mispronunciation stuff. That I was like, stop, please. The white, whatever he says it, the plurite or whatever.
The plurite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plurite.
that's where I was kind of like, those
They wouldn't-
those are the cringy ones.
I'm glad
They
I
went-
watched it with subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the subtitles definitely helped because there was like some things where I was like, what? And then yeah, kind of what Zach said with the story, just it felt like the story was all over the place at points, and I felt like I was watching 20 different shows. I was like, I'm processing so much information all at once.
It also has the set of like 20 different shows, so it kind of makes sense.
That tracks.
Yeah, I was like when we like the dance narrative. When we get to that, I was like, what is happening anymore? I was like, we just went from Steve Martin to this. I don't understand anything else.
So yeah, so moving on to final thoughts. I definitely enjoyed it, and it seems like a performance that's best experienced live because of, you know, just how the energy in the room would kind of help more as opposed to how it's shot and then just watching it at home by myself. But I do think it could like the narrative could have had a stronger dramatic catharsis, because I think it would double as being a funny juxtaposition to the rest of the show. Like when it just suddenly gets really serious, like where like the fight when they're quote unquote out of character feels too real. I think that would have been really funny if they went that far. But I still think it's great overall.
Yay.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, it makes me miss theater. Like it reminded me of the play was in it. It's called The Dining Room, where we basically played several different characters all in one set. And so you keep switching up, and that's what kind of made me miss that kind of feel where it's like it's something it's constantly a story going, but there's a whole plot to it around it. And yeah, I was like, if I were to show that opening scene with the you know, here's what all the stuff we're going to do to play, I would show that to a college theater class, because I was like, this basically shows you what our entire career is about. So something like that.
I too missed my high school theater days when I played an old man in a murder mystery whodunit.
Clue
It's just
Junior?
fun.
I was in Knives Out before Knives Out was cool.
Oh jeez.
Just throwing it out there. I did Shakespeare, so
Gross.
I did Shakespeare too, but it was not good. I learned 13 different people, or no, I watched 12 Angry Men 13 times.
oh yeah.
Listen, as Gil
I got
and
that
George
eventually.
said, Shakespeare is a hack.
I like Hamlet a lot.
That
What about you,
tracks.
Zach? What are your final thoughts?
Just some of the jokes. I love the jokes. The one when they're laying on the floor just yelling out random shit. Hilarious. Awesome.
What about you, Jordan?
Well, to sum it all up, I've loved this since the first time I watched it freshman year of college, and I still love it today. And I'll have one more root beer, please. Yeah.
And you're gonna watch it again
We still
sometime
say
in the
what
future.
we're watching next. You can't end it right there.
I know.
It's fine.
Zach, you're picking the next thing. What do we have to
Yay.
watch now?
You and Ryan have a history lesson, boys.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Because Jordan and I have already watched it. You guys are going to watch Light and Magic on Disney Plus.
White people giving us a history lesson? Oh boy.
Yeah.
That can go great.
The history of our
Light and
lives.
magic. And it's about Star Wars?
Welcome to
Come
American.
on.
Welcome to the American education system, guys.
It's not just
Oh.
about Star Wars.
No, it's about
Yeah.
like Lucasfilm in general, right?
Yeah.
No, it's about
Yeah.
it's about
Industrial Light
ILM,
Magic.
like ILM specifically.
Oh yeah, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah, not Lucasfilm specifically. Like, so it focuses on special effects and like post production process and models turning to CGI rendering, all that good jazz.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check it out because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's only 6 episodes. Each episode is about 45 to 50 minutes, so it's not too hard to get through.
I can do it. I can fit it in within 4 weeks. How about you, Ryan? Unless you've already seen it.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. We're watching a documentary about Star Wars. If you want to hear the rest of our thoughts about other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon. You link to that is below in the description to unlock those Patreon exclusive episodes. It is $5 a month. You can follow us on Twitter at Committed Crits, that's COMMITTED, CRITS. On YouTube, Committed Critics, spelled the same there it is here everywhere else. TikTok at Committed Critics, all one word. And special thanks to our current patrons, Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kolakowski for Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, Jody Wright, Devin Vonderhyde, and Brandon Morales. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.